Hi everybody, I am back with a custom request video for Emily A. Hi Em, I apologize, this video was actually longer. It was done outside, I had a different scenery and everything, and something wild happened over here and I lost the video. Here goes the video for your request, which is asking for connection tips for Taurus woman, Scorpio man, and how to make it a love that'll last until the end or last forever. And I'm going to say this, oftentimes you can see Taurus woman being caught up in awe and amazement at the matters of the underworld. Okay, and as we do know, and or if you don't know, Scorpio is in charge of the underworld because it deals with Plutonian energy, and Pluto is god of the underworld, right? I will be talking about that in my Pluto video that will be in Secret Houses podcast, season 2, when May rolls around. Great promo, right? Scorpio rules the underworld, and the reason why Taurus woman is attracted by this so much, right, is because Scorpio's main component is they excavate, okay? They dig, whether it's mentally, we know they do it mentally, right? From the inward out. And they also, because they rule the underworld, they dig up the jewels of the earth. They dig up the resources of the earth, and they adorn people with them, even down to the petroleum, right? People get a higher quality of life because they're able to utilize gas-operated cars, and they drive around the earth and travel in planes and everything, and they get to enjoy the value of life through that way. So this is what Scorpio is in charge of. This is what their energy represents, okay? So when Scorpio digs up the jewels of the earth, the emeralds, the stones, the diamonds, the rubies, and they adorn people with them, including themselves, right? They have this, Taurus woman is attracted and turned on by this because it is an extension of what she represents, which is personal values, right? Now, in the olden days, personal values have more to deal with, or should I say in the Eastern Hemisphere, personal values has more to deal with integrity, has more to deal with education, and has more to deal with wisdom. However, in the Western world, we have shifted that into material objects and material things, and Taurus woman is driven wild by material possessions. That is her thing. So when she sees how this Scorpio man is able to dig these things and excavate these things of the earth, and they are turned into personal value like gold, silver, etc., you get the idea, right? She is wild and in amazement. And once she realizes that Scorpio man is the ringleader of these processes in most times, and is the basically in charge of these processes, it adds on to the attraction level. Okay, so this is a great connection tip right here of why you guys even connect like that. Okay, now I must get back to the word excavation, and I'm going to compare this relationship to business and a business situation that just recently occurred, right? Recently, Toys R Us, I'm comparing it to Toys R Us. Recently, Toys R Us went belly up. So what I want you to do is I want you to picture Toys R Us as Taurus woman, notorious company in the United States that's been around for years, right? As far as I can remember. And it's responsible for making kids smile. Taurus women, family oriented, so the grandmas, the aunties, the mothers love bringing their kids for years to Toys R Us to get them the gifts, holiday after holiday. Okay, now, Scorpio man, on the other hand, Scorpio is the excavator, right? So Toys R Us represents Taurus because it's a good company, people's personal values, sort of like the Eastern description that I gave. They attach their personal values to their belongings, but then because of the sentiment, or because of the sentiment that they feel when they get these gifts, it's that type of personal value. But it's also Western because it's the physical items. You know, you go in there, you get a new robot, you get some new G.I. Joes, and you're attached to it. Like, nobody touch my G.I. Joes, and I'm gonna put them up in a box and not open it so they become collector's items. You know, that's very Western. Okay, so you see the mixture there. Now, Scorpio, on the other hand, Scorpio is the excavator, right? So you may open up a toy package, and on the back of it, it says made in Taiwan. Scorpio man is the resourceful guy who's going to fly to Taiwan, set up the subsidiary, the MNC over there, right? For the MNC, and go establish the warehouse so that, and exploit labor. Notice the terms that I'm using here. Exploit labor. That's part of a psychological exploit, if you will, right? Exploit the labor over there, get it done for cheaper is basically what I'm saying, and may utilize some other people's resources to get that done, get the toys shipped over to America, pile it up inside of the store, maybe hire workers there to and not pay them so much money. You understand what I'm talking about? And pay them for their labor at like a minimum wage so that the company can make large enough revenues and large enough profits to be successful, as Toys R Us was for years, right? So you hear the manipulation tactics that I'm utilizing now with the Scorpio man. Okay, so you personally, you have to identify whether this is going to sit right with you on a personal and relationship level, because Scorpio man has the potential to actually manipulate your resources and manipulate your mind, Taurus woman, okay? And they're possessive and they can be jealous, okay? The same as Taurus woman. See, Taurus women attract the same type of people that they are, so that whole possessive and jealousy thing, this is why Taurus women attract so many Scorpio men, all right? So, but as I was saying, because, and some Taurus women can be stingy, they can be selfish, because they really care about money. So what they're really doing is they're holding on to their money to make sure they have some type of cushion and foundation and leverage, right? So you got to ask yourself, how much are you willing to compromise, whether it's integrity, or how much are you willing to compromise your well-being to be with this Scorpio man? Because your Scorpio man may ask questions about your personal finances, because this is an excavator. This person will dig, okay? So, again, why Toys R Us? Because Toys R Us went belly up, unfortunately, right? So what happened? Toys R Us, as I said, was related to Taurus woman. So, fixed energy here, right? It's a no-brainer. Holidays come around, parents are taking the kids to Toys R Us, they're going to get the toys. Toys R Us is going to make a lot of money, right? People involved with the stock is also going to say, this is a no-brainer. We got this locked, right? Fixed energy. So what happens? Uranus comes onto the scene and says, I'm going to start rocking everybody's world. Here comes the iPad. Here comes the Galaxy Note. Bye-bye fluffy animals, and bye-bye G.I. Joes and little plastic toys. We don't care about you no more. The kids are picking up tablets and they're watching Blue Clues, and they're like, all the toys become prehistoric now. Rug gets swept from under Taurus woman's feet, which is Toys R Us, and the whole thing goes belly up. So what happened? How did this happen, right? Okay, Taurus thing is out of the picture, but how did this happen? It happened because of Scorpion energy. Right? And the reason why I say that is because Scorpio is the ruler of the 8th house that deals with other people's money. What Toys R Us started doing towards the end was taking on a lot of debt. And you will notice that some companies will do that when they got things in smash. Like they'll say, okay, we don't have to spend so much of our working capital because we have a reputation for making sales, especially around this time of the year, et cetera, et cetera. So they started taking on the debt. And then what happened is technology took the reins, and now it's like they were stuck with all of this debt and had no way to repay it back because nobody's buying toys anymore, right? And that's Scorpion energy. That's Scorpion exploiting people, exploiting people's minds, exploiting people's resources, utilizing other people's money. So this is what I have to say about this relationship as well. You have to, Taurus woman, you have to be able to, or ask yourself and tell yourself that you're willing to compromise, and that will have to do with integrity sometimes, and that will have to deal with your personal well-being. And I say that because you have to be able to be by the Scorpio man's side when the consequences hit, right? Like, let's say people who had money in their Toys R Us stock, they may be very upset by this and say, well, how they may talk to their stockbrokers, how you guys didn't see this coming. Or they may lose faith in the public stock market and the economy because Scorpion energy allowed this to happen. No matter how much you want to put it, because Scorpion energy is fixed as well, right? So you got to understand the consequences of the backlashes that this Scorpion man is going to face, if not in this industry, the toy industry, in any industry or profession that he enters. And you can't really blame the Scorpion energy when people participate in the offer that he presented. It's like this, right? A Scorpion man will link up with FD, foreign direct investors, for example, right, who want to invest in American companies but when what they'll say during the meeting is like, oh, I hear those Americans over there, they can't really even afford the place that they're employed in. They can't even afford to live at the places that they work in. So, they want to take advantage of that, right? And which is good for business, right? It's good for business because they'll say something like, oh, okay, well, I want to open up a company over there, but I'm only going to pay them this amount of money, right? So the Scorpion man is going to see the opportunity, and he's a resourceful being. So he's going to be like, well, I can make that happen for you, right? So what happens is Scorpion, ruler of the underworld, will go out into the communities. If there's a high unemployment rate, he's going to be going to the movers and shakers. Hey, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? You doing nothing? Well, look, I got these people. They're going to be building a XYZ over here, and I'm going to need workers. But there's a catch. They're only paying $10.50 an hour. You down? Scorpion man might even be like, well, what are you doing anyway? You're not doing nothing anyway, right? Nah, I'm not doing nothing. Okay, so get on. So then it's a great opportunity, right? You can't really be mad when you participate. But see, this is where I got to get back to Taurus energy, because Taurus woman is the embodiment of personal values. So if a Taurus woman sees $10.50 an hour and they jump for that, we're facing complications now, because that's a low ball wage. That's a low ball wage for whatever company is XYZ is coming from or on the other side of the world to present to the people in this community, right? So this is what I'm saying, the more Taurus woman gets infatuated by this type of lifestyle to the point where they compromise their integrity and personal values, this is where you may face complications. So in order for this to end and be a loving connection until the end, Taurus woman, you have to raise the bar for your personal values. Not saying that you don't already. However, I'm telling you what I've been noticing is that when Taurus woman gets attracted by the Scorpion energy so much, she can lose herself to the point where she will actually take that low ball wage or that low ball representation when she is the representation on the whole larger scale of personal values. And the more that you risk your integrity or your personal values when it comes to the Scorpion energy, the more a lot of people are going to be affected by it. Because you got to look at it like this, right? When people talk about countries, right, whether it's going to war or whatever the case may be, they be like, oh, come out of her, or oh, she's so beautiful, and the patriotic songs and stuff like that, right? So the world is represented by a woman. The earth is represented by a woman. A nation is represented by a woman. Cities, communities, they're represented by women. So the health of a woman is what will determine the personal value of that immediate area, okay? And Taurus woman, you are that woman. So keep in mind that as a Scorpion or Scorpion man or Scorpio energy excavates, they're digging up your resources, how good at you are holding on to them, but not only holding on to them, but moving around so that things like Toys R Us don't happen. Where are you putting your resources at? Or are you just going along for the ride of the underworld? Because you can lose sight of personal values when doing so. So what you have to do is you have to build a wall around yourself that raises the bar, that shows the Scorpion man just how much you're worth. Because the Scorpion man is going to excavate and dig the same way he does at everything else. But when he's digging to get into you, he's going to find the true value of a woman, and he's going to transform. Transformation is a huge deal when it comes to Pluto, because just because Scorpion man is doing a whole lot of excavating and moving around and making the world move and stuff like that, it does not necessarily mean that he's transforming. It does not mean that he's becoming advanced being. It means that he's repeating the same things that worked, and he may be caught up in a loop. So Taurus woman, this is another way that this can a connection tip, and where it can end greatly, because you're speaking and showing Scorpion man new value, truer value, right? Because instead of revealing how giddy you are by his power, you're actually showing him something that he's not able to do so easily, something that he's not able to manipulate so easily, and that raises the bar for him. And the Scorpion man's determination is so high that they're not going to want to turn away from that, right? They're not going to want to turn away from that. So, as I said before, this video was much longer. I have other things to say about this, but I have to cut it short.